quick thank you to our sponsors for making this podcast possible. They keep this show free to listen to.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here.
Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about one of the most damaging beliefs in modern parenting, the belief that your child is manipulating you. You probably heard this one from a grandparent, from a pediatrician, from a therapist, from well-meaning people, from friends, from a book maybe that someone handed you. She's playing you, he's working you, you're letting her manipulate you. I used to hear this all the time about my Esme Rose. Don't let him get away with that. They're testing you. Here's the truth. And we are going to spend the next 30, 40 minutes unpacking it. Your child is not manipulating you. That is not a thing their brain is capable of yet. This is the story that started this for me. Before we go any further, I want to tell you why I care about this so much. I was a public school teacher and a counselor for 13 years. I taught everywhere from kindergarten through high school, and I worked with thousands of kids. One year I had 850 kids on my caseload as a counselor at Santa Monica High School. So I've seen a lot of children. And very few of them gave me any real trouble until I had my Esme Rose. And she broke the theory I had about all children. I thought children were great, not manipulative, kind, loving. But she broke that for me. She was maybe 3 years old and we were in the kitchen and I had asked her to put her shoes on. It was the third time I'd asked her and she looked right at me. She almost looked through me like I wasn't even there. And I remember standing there in the kitchen thinking, she's manipulating me. She's doing this on purpose. She's trying to make me lose my mind. That was the story I told myself. And the moment I told myself that story, my whole body changed. My chest got tight, my voice got hard. I started bargaining and threatening and issuing consequences, and she would just melt down even harder. And I got angrier, and the wall between us got higher. I had been told my whole life that kids push their parents for one reason. They want the power and control. And so I did what I had been taught. I tried to take the power back, and it didn't work. It actually never works because that was not what was happening in my kitchen that day. What was actually happening was that my sensitive little girl had a feeling she could not articulate. She was holding something from her prefrontal cortex, the reasoning center of her brain that lets her process a request and act on it, wasn't available. And the person she trusted the most in the world, me, had just asked her 3 times to do something while she was still underwater. Here's something pediatric research confirms. 1 in 5 2-year-olds has a tantrum at least once every single day. And I say probably way more than that. 1 in 5 have a couple of days a day. That's not a moral failure on anyone's part. It's a typical human development. Kids have tantrums. We know this, and that is normal. And it's because they cannot deal with their emotions and feelings yet. My daughter wasn't manipulating me that day. She was drowning in her own feelings. Let me get into the why this myth has to die. Manipulation in the adult sense, the kind we accuse the 4-year-old of, requires 3 things working together. Let's get into the myth of and why it has to die. Manipulation in the adult sense, the kind we accuse the 4-year-old of, requires 3 things working together. Number 1, you have to understand that people have different thoughts and beliefs than you do. That's called theory of mind. The basic version comes online around age 4 or 5. But the sophisticated version, where you can model what another adult is thinking about what you are thinking, that's still developing well into adolescence. Number 2, You have to have executive function, the ability to plan, to hold a multi-step strategy in your head, to suppress an immediate impulse in service of a later goal. And 3, you have to have a prefrontal cortex that's fully wired for long-range planning. And here's the statistics I want you to hold on today. The prefrontal cortex region responsible for planning, impulse control, and strategic development does not finish developing until a person is roughly 25 or 28 years old. Not 15, not 10, and not 4, in our 20s. So when your 3-year-old is melting down at Target and your mother-in-law leans in with a little whisper, she's doing this on purpose to embarrass you, she's wrong, neurologically wrong. Your 3-year-old does not have the hardwire to run that play. She really doesn't. What your 3-year-old does have is a capacity to feel something really big, to have no words for it, and to express it in the only way she knows how, which in that moment is on the floor of Target. How many of you have heard that from your mother or your mother-in-law or your father or your father-in-law, your auntie, that your child is just trying to play you? When your 8-year-old says, you don't love me after you set a limit, he's not running a guilt trip chess move against you. He's telling you in the loudest voice he has that he feels disconnected from you right now, and that feeling is scary for him. But we have been sold a false bill of goods. We have been told just the opposite. When your 11-year-old asks dad after mom has already said no, she's not triangulating you. She has what developmentalists call magical thinking. She's hoping for a different answer. She's not plotting against you. Kids can learn. They can learn that crying gets them picked up. They can learn that whining gets the cookie. But learning what works is not the same thing as manipulating. Learning what works is your child's nervous system doing its job. Manipulating is a calculated, morally loaded strategy, and your child's brain is not wired for that at all. If your child looks manipulative, they're overwhelmed. Full stop. Let's slow down here and name what happens inside a family when the parent buys this belief, when they believe that children are manipulative, because it's not a small thing and it's actually a huge part of the problem. When you decide, or when I decided that my child was manipulating me, 4 things happen. My body hardens, my nervous system reads, your child is an adversary, not a small person who needs you, but somebody who's trying to do something against you. So then you respond with control, consequences, threats, taking things away, withdrawing of affection, shame-based language. I can't believe you do this to me. Because if someone is trying to manipulate you, control you, then that's the appropriate response. Your child learns a lesson though. They learn that the feelings they cannot yet name will be labeled as bad, that their attempts to reach you will be treated as attacks, that expressing a need makes them a manipulator. They internalize it and they carry it into their relationships they'll have in the future. And the connection between you takes a hit, right? Not a huge one, but a quiet little hit. And over time, it creates a crater and a wall that starts to thicken between you. This is the part I want you to pay close attention to, because the most useful thing I can give you today is a translation guide. The behaviors that look like manipulation, and then I'm going to give you what they actually mean. So the first one, the meltdown when you say no. What it looks like. Your 4-year-old loses in the cereal aisle because you're not going to give them the Cocoa Puffs. What adults call it, she's trying to manipulate me into buying it. What is actually happening is her prefrontal cortex cannot hold the disappointment. It's too much for her little body. She needs to have a release. And then she needs your warm presence on the other side of it. What to do? Do not buy the cereal, but do not lecture either. Sit with her and let the feelings come. I understand. I know you're disappointed. The tantrum is not the manipulation. The tantrum is actually the regulation, and our empathy is the connection. Number 2, asking dad after asking mom. Oh my gosh, we have this so much in our house. What it looks like. You said no to the sleepover, and now she's in the kitchen asking dad. What adults call it, she's playing us against each other. What's actually happening is she does not understand the limit yet, and she's hoping for another answer. She's hoping some other adult will say yes. It's not a plot. This is a child. Here's what to do. Parents on the same page. kindly say, Mom already answered. I'm with her. We can talk about it after dinner or later if you want to understand why. No shame, no gotchas, no blame. Number 3, you don't love me or I hate you when you set the limit. Some adults call it emotional blackmail. Some call it manipulation. What is actually happening is the child is overwhelmed, and the biggest feelings they have access to in the moment are about love or hate. It's not a strategy. It's developing nervous system trying to express something big with a very limited vocabulary. Don't argue. Instead, list all the things you have done for him. I'm sorry, do not list all the things you've done for them. Just say, I hear you. I'm here. I love you. And I know it's hard. That's it. That's the whole intervention. Let them have their feelings. The translation guide part 2. Number 4, crying harder the moment you walk away. I hear this a lot. What it looks like. The baby goes quiet and then starts wailing the second you leave the room. What adults call it? She's faking it. And it doesn't have to be the baby, it can be the child. What's actually happening? Your presence is a regulator for their nervous system. When you leave, their system destabilizes. When you come back, it calms. That's not manipulation. That's attachment working exactly as nature designed it. What to do? Go back, stay. The idea that you have to not reinforce your baby's crying is an old behaviorist idea that was built on studies of rats in boxes, not on human children. Behaviorist ideas are old and antiquated, and we do not need to use them. They're not helpful. Number 5, the sick stomach on Monday morning. This is my Pia. What it looks like. Your 7-year-old always has a stomach ache on the way to school. What adults call it? He's faking it to get out of school. He has a test and he doesn't want to go. What's actually happening is somatic anxiety. The baby holds what the mind cannot yet process. His stomach is genuinely in knots. The stomach ache is real. What to do? Get curious. What's happening? What's going on at school? Do not dismiss the stomach ache. Do not force through it without inquiry. Figure out what's happening with this child who's always has the stomach ache before school. There's something going on there. Number 6, the defiance when you're running late. Everybody has this one, and it's so hard. What it looks like. You have 90 seconds to get out the door, and your child decides it's the moment to refuse to put their shoes on. This was my Esme Rose every day in kindergarten. What adults call it? They're choosing the worst possible moment to manipulate me. What's actually happening? They sense our stress, the tight voice, the rushed moments. Her nervous system's going offline exactly the moment you need them to be the most cooperative. This is not a choice she's making. It's a reaction. Here's what to do. Take 3 seconds. Kneel down. Soften your voice. Hey, I'm being fast. I'm a little stressed. Can we do the shoes together? And watch what happens. None of these behaviors are manipulation. Every single one is a child trying to tell you something they do not yet have the language for. Okay, this week, I want you to pick one behavior you've been labeling as manipulation, just one. And every time it happens, ask yourself, what's my child telling me right now? This is the whole practice. This one question will change your home. Okay, pick one of these things to do, or pick 3, starting today. Banish the word for 7 days. Banish the word manipulation from your vocabulary for 7 days. Not from your thoughts, because you're still going to think it. I still think it myself. But from your mouth. When you feel yourself about to say, they're manipulating me out loud to your partner or your mother or your friend, stop. Replace it with, they're overwhelmed. Or they need something. Watch what happens to the tone of your voice. Number 2, 10 minutes of special time. And we teach this in the Peace and Parenting community. It's one of our most sacred tools. 10 minutes or even 20 minutes of special time every day with a child. Phone down, no agenda. They decide the play. 10 minutes at their level. That's it. The single biggest predictor of the behavior you've been calling manipulative is low connection. When the tank is full, most of what you are reading as manipulation simply stops happening. We teach a full framework around this inside our community because it is so effective. Connection isn't just play, though. Connection is tons of different ideas of how to respond to behaviors, and that's what we teach inside the Peace and Parenting community. Win 3, ask the translation question out loud. When you notice a behavior you would have labeled as manipulation, just like the translation question, ask the translation question out loud. I wonder what you're telling me right now. Sometimes you'll get a real answer. Sometimes you will not. Either way, you have told your child, I'm looking for what you need, not what you're doing. You're focused on helping and coaching, not chastising and demonizing. I want to tell you about a dad in our community. He came in convinced his 7-year-old son was manipulating him, like so many of us do, like I did. Every morning was the stomach ache. Every morning he thought his son was faking it to get out of school. We walked through the translation question. He sat with his son at breakfast on a Tuesday and asked, what is happening at school this week? And his son cried for 20 minutes and told him a kid at recess had been calling him names. His son had not been manipulating anybody. He had been alone with his anxiety because the adult in his life was too busy trying to catch him in a lie and make him go to school that they were missing something. That's the cost of the story. That's not abstract. It happens every morning in real houses for kids, even in my own. Thank you for joining me on the Peace in Parenting podcast. I'll see you next time.
Hey there, Peace in Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true. Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace in Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace in Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions.